Hey guys, today's video is just going to be really short. You are going to fill out your guided notes that I gave you on Friday. Today's Friday, I'm recording this, but maybe you're watching this weekend. I hope you're watching this weekend because that was the one piece of homework that I had for you. So we're just going to go through really quick the causes of the Great Depression. I'll talk a little bit about the unemployment rate of the Great Depression. And I'll talk a little bit about FDR's New Deal. On Tuesday, when we come back after this long weekend, you guys will be learning about the 2008 recession, and then we'll take an open notes quiz at the end of the hour. So let's get started. So when we talk about the Great Depression, and we'll talk about this on Monday, this idea of supply and demand. So I drew this chart up here. And if we look, I have down here, we have quantity of pizza slices. You've all been learning graphs in math, I've heard, so this should be making sense. So the quantity of pizza slices versus the price of the pizza. What you want is, you want something what's called an equilibrium, which is right here. You want, and I'll talk about more of this on Monday, you want an equal almost amount of people wanting pizza, which would be the demand, okay, that's red here, and the quantity of pizza that you could produce, okay? So you want an equal of both, because if you have either too much pizza, the price is gonna go down, the price is gonna go down, and if you have a lot of people wanting pizza but not enough pizza, the price is going to go up. So you want an equilibrium, and that ties into the Depression pretty well. One of the first big cause of the Great Depression was the problems that farmers were having after World War I. So during World War I, we have the government asking farmers to produce a lot of food, tons of food for the war effort. They are going at it, producing as more food than they had previously, right? So after the war, we still have farmers producing so much food, okay? And there's a problem though, because we don't need that much food anymore because we're not at war. So they start to lower the prices for this food because there's so much, they need to get rid of it. So they lower the prices. Well, that creates a domino effect to negatively affect the farmers. They're not getting as much money. If they don't get that much money, they're not able to pay their bills or anything they have to pay off. So it kind of leads them into despair. Farmers, meaning they, are the first ones to feel the effects of the Depression. They are what people would say is like the canary in the coal mine, meaning like when miners used to go down and it would be really dangerous in the mines, okay, to kind of signal if something was off, they would have a canary bird down there, and the canary would be in charge of like signaling with, you know, a chirp or whatever, that either something was going to collapse, because they're able to sense it better than humans. So the farmers were the canary in the coal mine for the Great Depression. Our second cause of the Great Depression is people buying stuff on credit. We talked about this in our last unit, but credit, okay, is basically like a promise to pay something back later. You use your credit card and then you get a bill later. So we have a lot of people coming back from the war. There's new inventions, new things coming out. They want new. They want to complete what's called the American dream, which was basically this unattainable image of a perfect family, perfect life, having everything new and fancy. Okay, so everyone's like shelling out money to get this American dream, and it comes back to bite them, especially because a lot of them are using credit. And like I said, when you use credit, it's a promise that you'll pay it back later. Well, then later comes around, they're not able to pay it back. Now they're in debt. The debt just keeps going up, to the point where it's like crippling debt. Like they are struggling financially. So buying stuff on credit is another big cause. Another cause, our third cause of the Great Depression, was the weak banking industry. Now, I had talked about credit. A lot of people were also taking out loans from the bank. And it was the same thing with credit. They would take out loans. A loan is a promise to pay back later. And when later comes around, these people aren't able to pay it back for one reason or another. Could be because of credit, or could be because they took out too much of a loan. And especially with farmers, that's an issue if they're taking out loans and then crop prices go down and they don't have as much money. They're not able to pay those loans back. So the banking industry is suffering because if they don't have people paying those loans back, they lose that money. And they're not able to get it from anywhere else. And we watched a video, America, the Story of Us, the other day, where it said that a lot of the banks had invested poorly in people, and those are the people that aren't able to pay their loans back. So bad investments, people not paying money back, the banks start to suffer, which leads us into this next cause of the Great Depression, which was the stock market crash. A lot of people think that the Great Depression was only started by the stock market crash. That's not true at all. We have a bunch of things, like I've said, contributing to the Great Depression, but the stock market crash was definitely one of them. So rumors start going around after these banks are failing and they're closing down and people are losing a lot of their investments, their savings. Rumors are going around all of a sudden that all these banks are failing and everything's going really badly, and people just start selling their stocks really fast. Which, if you don't know, the stock market is where you put money into investing in a company, and you buy something what's called shares, and basically that money will turn into more money over time, depending on how those companies are functioning and if everything's going right. So before this, a lot of people had an extra amount of money, so they thought, oh, okay, we'll put it into the stock market. It's a good investment. Have my money make more money. But with the stock market crash, like I said, we see a lot of rumors and people circulating that banks are failing and everything's not going great. So people start selling their stocks. Everyone starts selling their stocks. And if everyone is selling their stocks, those companies are losing their investors, which is leading to this stock market crash. It's pandemonium, to say the least. And then the last cause of the Great Depression was income equality. We have at this point like 0.1% of people owning property back in this day. And so when the Great Depression hits, that percentage of people, the upper class rich people, aren't feeling the effects at all. Okay, they're maybe a little bit, but not as much as our middle class to bottom class of society feels it. And the middle to bottom class, they are hit so hard and they suffer for longer. The reason why the Great Depression lasts so long is because the middle to bottom class, which makes up most of American society, is down and out for a while. These financial hits, they're not able to bounce back as quickly as maybe the 0.1% of people, the rich people. So they are down for longer, and it's almost like they're in a hole and they dug themselves this hole with bad credit and not paying back loans, and they're a lot deeper than anybody else that would be upper class. So lots of income inequality. Another thing that contributes to income inequality, and which leads me into the unemployment rate, is people unemployed. This unemployment rate is 25%, and that was the bell. So I'm going to cut it off here, and we'll talk about more of this on Monday. But if you're filling out your note sheet, unemployment rate is 25%. And we'll pick up on this on Monday.